Are you prepping for a big security architect interview and trying to think of the perfect project to talk about? One that shows off your technical depth, strategic thinking, and business acumen? Stay right there. Today, we're breaking down a project that ticks every single box. Designing and implementing a zero-trust architecture for a cloud environment. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete story you can adapt and use to confidently answer that dreaded question. Tell me about a complex project you've led. The key to telling a great project story in an interview is using the STAR method: situation, task, action, and result. Let's start with the situation. You can frame the situation like this. The company I was at had rapidly migrated to the cloud, let's say AWS. Their security model was a classic castle and moat design. It was built on the old assumption that everything inside our network was trusted. In a dynamic cloud environment with remote workers and countless API integrations, this model was brittle and left us exposed to lateral movement attacks. Now, for the task. My task as the incoming security architect was to design and champion a strategic roadmap to transition our entire AWS environment from that outdated perimeter model to a modern zero-trust framework. The goal was to enforce the principle of never trust, always verify, ensuring that no user or system was trusted by default, regardless of its location. See how clear that is? You've established the business problem and your specific mission. This is the core of your story, the action phase. Let's walk through it step by step. I'll break it down into 4 phases. Phase 1 was discovery and risk assessment. You can't secure what you can't see. First, I led a comprehensive discovery initiative. In this phase, I gathered information and identified weaknesses. I collaborated with the DevOps and application teams to map all our cloud assets, critical data flows, and user access patterns. I then conducted threat modeling sessions based on the STRIDE framework to identify key vulnerabilities. The main deliverable from this phase was a formal risk assessment report that clearly showed our leadership where our biggest gaps were, like overly permissive IAM roles and a lack of network segmentation. Phase 2 was the fun part: architecture and design. This is where you shine as an architect. Based on the risks we identified, I designed the target state zero-trust architecture. The core pillars were identity as the new perimeter. We decided to use Azure AD, or Okta, as our central identity provider, enforcing strong MFA and conditional access policies for every single request. Micro-segmentation. I designed a network topology using multiple VPCs and strict security groups to create small isolated zones. This meant that if one application server was compromised, the attacker couldn't move laterally to another. Endpoint verification. We mandated that access would only be granted from corporate devices that were healthy and compliant, which we verified using our endpoint security tool, like CrowdStrike. Mentioning specific technologies shows you have hands-on knowledge. Phase 3 was implementation and integration. Here, your role shifts from designer to guide. I didn't configure every firewall myself. My role was to enable the other teams. I created secure by design templates, like pre-configured Terraform modules, for the engineering teams to use. I worked side by side with the network team to implement the micro-segmentation rules, and with the IAM team to roll out the principle of least privilege. This collaborative approach was key to getting buy-in. Finally, Phase 4. Validation and handoff. A project isn't done until you prove it works. To validate the new architecture, we hired a third-party team to conduct a penetration test against the new environment. They confirmed that lateral movement was significantly more difficult. Following that, I developed runbooks and held training sessions for our security operations, SOC team, so they could effectively monitor and respond to alerts in the new ecosystem. Now, you tie it all together with the results. This is what hiring managers really care about. Use numbers. As a result of this project, we achieved 100% MFA adoption for all user-to-system and system-to-system access. We reduced the number of standing administrative privileges by over 80%, moving to a just-in-time access model. Most importantly, This directly led to a 45% reduction in security incidents related to unauthorized access in the first quarter after implementation. We also successfully passed our annual PCI audit with no findings related to network security, which was a major win for the business. Okay, you have the story. Here are a few final tips to deliver it perfectly. First, use I statements. Say, I designed, I led, I collaborated. Own your role in the project. Second, be ready for the why questions. Why did you choose Scalar over a cloud-native firewall? Why Okta over Azure AD? Have a business or technical justification for every major decision. And third, prepare for the what went wrong question. Maybe a certain team had pushback, or a technology didn't work as planned. Show that you can learn from challenges. For example, initially, developer adoption of the new IAM roles was slow. We learned we needed to provide better documentation and hands-on workshops, which dramatically improved the process. So there you have it. A complete, compelling project story that showcases you as a strategic, collaborative, and technically skilled security architect. Take this framework, adapt it to your own experience, and practice telling the story out loud. You'll walk into your next interview with confidence. If you found this helpful, hit that like button. Subscribe for more content on acing your security career, and let me know in the comments what other interview topics you want me to cover. Good luck.